You are listening to Any Given Sunday, Australia.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the number one podcast in at least 3 households, 1 studio. American Football Australia head office. I forgot that one again. Wade, I promise I didn't forget it. It was just at the back of my mind. And NFL Australia head office joining us in a much quieter house that is not being renovated today. Danny Webb, AGSAU. How are you, mate?
So much better. It's nice that I can actually hear myself think in my own house again.
Yeah, not having I can see your ears. That's nice too.
Yeah, anytime where I don't have to wear noise-cancelling headphones just to drown out the sound of other people is lovely.
It's a win. It's a win. You are a real people person, so anytime you have to drown them out is not ideal. What a day, mate. It was an absolute cracking day. Started off nice and early over in London. I feel like it was a day that most teams that we thought were going to win, but there was a couple of little upsets in there. I didn't think Chicago was going to go in there and absolutely dominate the Jags like they did. And maybe not. There's a couple of games we're going to talk about, but just mentioning quickly that the way that the Lions dominated the Cowboys was definitely not the way I thought the game was going to go. But we're going to start right back on the Thursday night game, Friday morning for us. San Fran getting back to their winning ways on Thursday night football, back playing that dominating kind of football against the Seahawks that we're used to seeing. Just a quick one from you, mate. Is this the W they needed just to get themselves back on track?
Oh, for sure. And that's what we spoke about on our preview episode for that week, was that both of these teams needed to get out of their losing funk, and the 49ers absolutely did it. The scoreline kind of shows it like it was closer than it really was, like the Seahawks being within 12 points. It felt like the 49ers were just dominating the majority of that game, and it was good to see them back to their normal form.
I don't think anything's come out yet, but Jordan Mason did get hurt, did he not?
Yeah, it looks like he injured his AC joint. From the articles that I have read, it's looked like it should just be day-to-day, week-to-week.
Oh, yeah, because that's... well, they brought in... I can't even remember the guy's name. Just another running back who just started dominating, had 100 yards himself. So, Eduardo or something like that. I don't want to be too... just throwing it out there. But just the running back factory that is the 49ers. Definitely felt like a win that they needed just to... feel confident again, back on top of the NFC West, and the fact that they haven't been playing their greatest football in their words and in everyone's eyes, I guess, and they are back on top. They must be feeling pretty good about it, I imagine.
Oh, for sure, and they're lucky that they've just got an endless running back room. So no matter who they plug and play in there, they're just going to put up 100 yards.
Yeah.
Everyone has always said that the 49ers have a plug-and-play system and it doesn't really matter who's there. And they're kind of proving it themselves.
Yeah, they're proving that our system can work for anyone. But, hey, it's a winning system, so good on them. The game that I just mentioned, the big W for the Lions, huge. Last time I saw it was 47-9, I think. So an absolute demolition of a very lackluster Cowboys. But their win was very much soured by a big injury to their big defensive player of the year nominee, I guess. He's out of it. We put a bet on it 2 weeks ago, and I guess I just kind of cash out now, mate.
Yeah, I think you've got to, because if anyone is squirmish, don't go watch the video. Anyone who's not, you can see his leg clean break as he runs into what looks like his own player's leg. Just hits him straight in the tib and fib. Clear fracture in both. He actually goes to lift up his leg and it flops at one point. So there is no bone structure left in that. So the issue with that for the Lions is, depending on how severe the injury, how severe the surgery is, the injury is clearly severe, how severe the surgery is and what is actually going to have to go in there, screws, plates, what are we going to do to have to hold this leg together? We're looking like a 6 to 9 to potentially even 12 months for this injury. Like that is season ending. Don't even think about playoffs. You ain't coming back. And then we're going to start to think, preseason next year. Could still be having issues. It was a massive loss for this team that has been doing so well. So the Lions are now 4-1. Only one win behind the Vikings, which have just been dominant, who had this week off on the bye week. Yep.
Yes.
Going with it.
Correct. No, you're right, 100%. 2 5-0 teams had the bye.
Yeah, and the Cowboys came out and they weren't necessarily the most healthy, but to only put up 3 field goals, that ain't enough.
No, you're right, and I'll be getting the punting apps up now and seeing who the Cowboys play next week and betting on them because the Lions curse will definitely hit those guys, and especially, well, is it too early to say season over for you guys? Oh, for not you guys, for the Cowboys?
Definitely not for us.
Yeah.
We had a win.
No, you're right.
Just. But a win nonetheless. The Cowboys should definitely be worried. So, like, including their playoff loss to the Packers last season, your favorite game to mention always.
Yes, sir.
The Cowboys have now been outscored 167 to 85 in their past 4 home games. They can't even get the job done at home, let alone away. And it's not going to get any easier. Their schedule moving forward is at San Fran, at Atlanta, against the Eagles at home, and against the Texans. So we already know San Fran are winning because of the Lions curse. Atlanta are looking so strong. The Eagles are trying to get the shit together, but every time they play the Cowboys, they always kick it up another gear. And then Texans, and then at Washington, which I don't even think I mentioned. None of those games are easy, and they're 3-3. Let's say they get one win out of that. That 3-3 is now, what, 4-7?
Long way to come back. They must have the bye next week because I couldn't find them on the betting. But
yeah, they do have a bye, so they've got 2 weeks to think about this loss and how much they got absolutely dominated. But also 2 weeks then to get healthy.
Yes, that is, like you said, they are a little bit banged up, but I don't feel banged up enough to be going out there and getting absolutely smashed like that, especially at home, like you said. It might be interesting. Might have to reach out to a few of our Cowboys friends to get a few comments about how they're going. I know Loz loves getting on here and chatting about it. So
I thought that's why I thought he declined our invite today, especially just because of the way that the Cowboys went. Knew that we'd just bombard him, especially me, with every single Cowboys question as possible.
Yeah, no, he's not silly. He's not silly. Like you said, they're now the Lions. Talk about in better news. They're 4-1 in a pretty stacked NFC North, mate.
Yeah, it leads me on to a question for you. Ooh. Do you think that all 4 teams from the NFC North could actually make the playoffs?
Do you know what? I actually, when I saw, I woke up. I tried to stay awake last night and watched the London game, but the couch got the better of me, and I did fall asleep. Woke up, I was like, bugger it, I've got to get up early and watch my Packers. So, but when I saw the score, and then I saw the Packers going the way they were going, and then the Lions doing what they did, I did actually think at the moment are all 4 in. Unfortunately, we're not. The Packers are 7th. The Bears are 8th after the Bucks got their big win. They jumped into 6th seed. But shit, if I'm honest, I can't see the Bears continuing the way they are. But shit, if they do, there's every chance because like the Lions are absolutely dominating. The Vikings, I just still can't get a read on why are they 5-0. They just get the job done when required, and the Packers, we're pretty safe. I'm pretty happy that we're going to make the playoffs. So, yeah, if the Bears can do some weird things that the Bears haven't done in recent past, then shit, they might. But the fact that, every team is 2 games clear of 500, which is unreal. Nobody in the NFC West is over 500. The 49ers, who were in the Super Bowl last year, they will be dangerous, obviously. I think now that they've got that win against Seattle, they're probably going to go on and win the NFC West, but they're still not above 500. The NFC South is down to 2 teams, the 4-2 Bucks and the 4-2 Falcons. The Saints, they kind of fell apart, and the Panthers are the Panthers. Your NFC East, mate, it looks like I'd almost say that it's down to a 2-way run with you, with Commanders and you guys as well. With, we've already said that the Cowboys are pretty much done, and no one even knows who the Giants are. Like they were almost in the game against Cincy today, but then they weren't, and so they're not going to make the playoffs. So it's down to 2-way horse race with you. I don't know, mate. I honestly think that there is a chance. I did wake up and think, shit, there's all 4 of us in.
Yeah, so to have all 4 of you in, it would require only one team from all other NFC divisions. So no other team can get in. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there'll be the top 4 and then the best 3. Yeah, which is 100%. Which at the moment, it's going that way.
It is looking like that. But the NFC North have not played each other. Well, they played each other once.
There's only
one game. So what was the Packers-Vikings where you went down by 2 points? You said it was a close game, even though they dominated you for the 3 quarters and you only came back in the last quarter. Yes, it was It was Love's comeback game, and I get it. He was finding his stride. Still, I don't know. You'd love to tout that as a great close game. It was all right. You only just hung in there. Yeah, but apart from that game, though, the NFC North hasn't actually played each other yet. You're going to have to start cannibalizing each other at some point, and then one of the teams is going to have to lose.
Yeah. That's where I love the Week 18 divisional games, where that can kind of, it might come down to, us versus the Bears. I think it's the Bears we have in the last week. If they keep going, it could be winner place like playoffs. Like, that'll be huge.
It's looking and shaping up to be such an exciting end to the season for this playoff race. And I would say it's probably more exciting than previous years because the teams that are pushing the hardest are ones we weren't expecting.
No, 100%.
And we love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, your division is down to a 2-horse race, and you did manage to get the W today, but I did see an article about your coach, Nick Sirianni, getting into it with fans. Are you worried about this?
Well, I think it was a very soft article. Like, he turned around and said one thing and threw his hands in the air. He got booed the whole game, and rightfully so, because the Eagles barely hung on, and they don't look great. We don't look great. I'm not going to sit on here and do what you do and put your Packers hat on and just be blind.
Yeah.
I can actually open my eyes without my Eagles hat on, we don't look good. We're actually looking quite a lot like a mess. So I understand why all the fans were booing. Plus, you're playing in Philly, mate. The Philly crowds hate their star players. They hate everyone. They're going to hate a head coach who's on the hot seat. So I don't really know what I was expecting. I think he just came out and said he could have done a little bit without the negativity. If you want no negativity, don't play in Philly. Don't coach in Philly.
Yeah. I know the 76ers, they go through it every year as well. So.
Hey, 76ers are looking hot now they signed Paul George.
Righto.
We'll say that for any given bald day podcast.
Yeah, that's it. That's our sidekick. I love the fact that you said you could sit there without your Eagles hat on. You're literally sitting there with your Eagles hat on.
Yes, but not my one like you, where you just have your hat for some reason had these giant blinders that just fold down and go over your eyes, and it just has 2 Packers logos on the inside.
It's like that. It's not my pink. Rose-coloured glasses. They're green and gold.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a great win today. I'm very happy with the way we played against an Arizona team that did knock off the 49ers. So, just saying. Another huge win. Bucks. They dropped 50 on the Saints. Like we said, the Saints have definitely dropped on. They're 2-4 now after two of the put 90 points up in 2 weeks and have barely touched the end zone since then. But it really does keep the NFC South race alive against the Falcons, who kind of look like they're the team that's going to be running away.
Yeah, the Falcons have, finally found their straps, I guess. We always said that Kirk Cousins is going to take a little bit to settle in. We never really speak about it, but he did come off a gnarly injury as well.
Yeah,
the same way Aaron Rodgers did. Same injury, and he still got there eventually. And now that he has kind of found his straps, those Falcons are looking scary. The Saints, though, to be fair, they didn't have Derek Carr. They didn't have a bunch of players. They were running injured. They rocked their rookie QB, Spencer Rattler. He came out and he threw 22 out of 40 for 243 yards, but it kind of just seemed like he needed a little bit of help out there.
For those that I remember watching Spencer Rattler in QB1, the TV show back in the day. So he's a confident young fella. So I think this will actually do him well, and getting out there and playing will go well. I know we don't have it on our run sheet, mate, but the Davante Adams chat, I do have a question about the Saints. Do you think the fact that Carr sounds like he's out, I don't know if he got put on IR, but he'll be out for a few weeks. Do you think that puts them out of the race for Davante Adams? I don't think he wants to go to a team and have a second or a third string thrown to him. So does this kind of say the Saints are out?
I would say so, yeah. Why Davante Adams wants to trade. He doesn't want to play for the Raiders anymore. He wants to go and compete. Spencer Rattler's probably not the one. The Bucks and Saints at the start of the season, especially after week 2, they were looking like a very even side. Both very offensive, dominated, both putting up big points on lots of teams and teams you wouldn't necessarily expect them to. Now they just got absolutely smoked by the Bucks. If you were Davante Adams, would you want to go to the Saints?
Nah. The only reason everyone brought it up was because of the Derek Carr thing. And if he's going to miss multiple weeks, I can't see him going there for a late season charge. Like, he wants to go to a side that's contending, like the Ravens, who got another good win against the Commanders, your boys, the Commanders, which does help your Eagles. But yeah, I don't know. I did actually hear just a fluttering just for the rumour files that they're asking too much, and there's no teams actually willing to put up the second rounder.
Yeah, and we said that, and potentially one of the options that they're going to have to look at, and the Raiders are going to have to look to accept, is a third round with the possibility of it changing to a second round depending on where they finish. So, if they go deep in the playoffs or they make the Super Bowl, that's third round, a conditional second round pick is what they're going to have to probably look to more likely accept. And the team is going to probably have to offer. You're still getting Davante Adams at the end of the day. Yes, you might only have him for one amazing season, but if it gets you to the Super Bowl, does it matter?
Mm. Speaking of getting to the Super Bowl, or at least getting to the playoffs, looks like, and when you read this article that we saw and all the stats that come into it, they're going to be the first team to clinch the division, and it's not even a close race for second. It's daylight, then it's morning, and then it's afternoon. It is a long way back for second. Who's clinching theirs? These guys are going to absolutely dominate the AFC South, and it's not even funny.
Yeah, so the Texans have a clear 2-game lead over the Colts, and they've already played the Colts this year and beat them. The Colts are the only ones that could really do anything for them because, the next two teams is a 1-4 Titans. Yuck. A 1-5 Jags. Worse. So the only team that could ever really challenge them at this point to clinch their division would be the Colts, who are 2 games behind and don't have Anthony Richardson. Don't have their starting QB or Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's still out, their star running back. They're the Colts are in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, they do look like they've been hit a little bit by that injury bug that's going around, and it hasn't come at a good time. Pretty sure they got a good win today. I might be wrong, but yeah, it just looks like the Texans. Unfortunately for them, they are going to get a loss next week when Green Bay comes to town. But it just looks like 5-1. I can't remember. They went on a 5 or 6 game winning streak to finish the end of last year as well. So realistically, in the last 11, 12 games, they've only lost, they're like 10, 11 and 1. They are flying. Which
is incredible because, we'll talk about CJ Stroud like he's been in the league for years.
Yeah.
This is only his second.
Everyone thinks he's a 10-year QB.
This is only his second year. Just jumping back to the Colts quickly, they did have a win against the Titans, though, which are in the division anyway. So, okay, good.
They are yuck.
You're now a 3-3 team. But yeah, you got Joe Flacco leading the charge, which is I wouldn't be upset if Joe Flacco came in and replaced Jalen Hurts if Jalen Hurts was injured. You accept him. He is probably the best backup in the league, because he comes in and actually takes teams to the playoffs. Will he be able to do it with the Colts? Maybe not. But back to the Texans and CJ Stroud, go get him. How good? How good for Houston? And, as you're saying, hardly lost any games if we're crossing across both the seasons. What a thing to do as such a young QB. And if you listen to him talk, he's got the most mature head on him as well.
Yeah, I'm not surprised after, you see the way he gets around. I remember you said last week about he threw that big bomb to Nico Collins and had that little bit of a stance. And it was a bit of a surprise. I think we do, like you said, we see him as a 8-10 year QB and saying, a bit of spice coming out of him. But no, he's a young bloke in his second season. So it's huge for the Texans, and I'm pretty confident in saying that they are going to clinch their division, by week 10 or 11 probably.
Yeah, so the Colts just have to lose a couple more. The Texans have got to win a couple more, and it's all done. It's done and dusted.
Done and dusted. All right, mate, we've got a big game tomorrow night. Tonight for over in America. But the 3-2 Bills with a 1.5 point advantage over the 2-3 Jets in New York at MetLife Stadium. The second game in 2 days at MetLife. A little bit surprising. I would have thought maybe a bit more than a 1.5 line. I know the Bills coming off a poor loss to the Texans where they didn't play their greatest only went down 2023, but it wasn't Josh Allen's greatest game. Like I said, 64% of the money at $1.86 for the Bills. This was actually my any given Sunday pick of the week. We got it at $2.18. It's come down. I think it's might even be $2 or a little bit less. So people have jumped on it, which is good to see. First game post Salah, obviously, but flying back from London, is that going to be a little bit of a factor for these Jets? You think?
Yeah, so it's obviously going to play into it a little bit, but like you said, they were back. Well, when did the firing happen? Prior to our last episode, so it was Tuesday, I think, our time.
Yeah, so they've been back nearly a week.
Yeah, they've been back nearly a week, so realistically, it shouldn't really be making that much of a difference now. They've been back, they've been settling, they've been training at home.
No, that's not an excuse. You just debunked that straight away.
Yeah. I am actually kind of shocked the Jets aren't the favourites in this, only just due to this new coach bump. I know they don't win every single time, but there's definitely a higher percentage. I just tried to quickly Google it, but my fingers are not quick enough to get the accurate information out. But yeah, so there's definitely a higher chance that the...
Just put a number on it, mate. No one knows. 86% of the time, a new coach comes. Fact check me.
And that'll be the one time the Jets fans don't actually call me out, which would be lovely.
Yeah. No, we said new coach bump. We always do. We say new coach bump. We don't normally say it this early in the season. But yeah, definitely. I picked them at $2.18 to get the job done, and yeah, I just feel like maybe Rodgers has a little bit to prove that. A lot of hate has come towards him and Nathaniel Hackett. I'll be interested to see if it's a different play calling type of game, whether within the 4 or 5 days the new coach coming in has put a stamp on it, or is it just like we'll get through this week, we'll play as we did normally, and then we'll begin from next week start. Whether it's new systems and all those kind of things, I can't imagine all that stuff's going to change. But just how the game's going to be called, whether it's going to be the same very high pass attempts kind of game in the last few weeks. Like I think there was only 10 or 11 runs against the Vikings, and Rodgers throwing 30 plus times, which I don't think he wants to be doing that too much anymore. 23 targets at Garrett Wilson, which is great for betting, but I don't think the team wants that every week. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. That's what I'll be looking for tomorrow is how's the game called and what kind of game are they actually going to be playing.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting. I don't think Rodgers is the only one that's going to go all in, though. I think all the players, offensive and defensive, mainly offensive, because we know that's where they're struggling, but they're all going to be buying into this. Right, we just got a bloke fired because we've been not living up to expectations. Let's not do that again, and let's prove our worth now, because now we're going to have a new coach. Everyone else is now replaying for their number one spot, their seat. They've got so much to prove. And that's why I think, the Bills being the favourites, yes, they're potentially a better team, but they had a stinker in their last one.
Shocker.
An absolute stinker. So this, hopefully, would just be a nice, tight little battle. But yeah, I'd probably lean more towards the Jets.
Do you... So if this happens week 15, 16, 17, you always think, all right, these guys, like you said, they're playing for their spots. They're playing for their jobs next year. Do you think in week 6, are they thinking that kind of mentality that, all right, we've got a new coach coming in. He's got as much chance as anyone else to become our coach. Are we playing for our jobs in week 6?
Not necessarily playing for their jobs, but definitely playing for pride.
Yep.
And I think that can be the best motivator at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's where the new coach bump comes into it, where it's we got to play for this bloke. We got to prove that it wasn't our fault. It was your fault, but we got to prove it wasn't our fault that this guy got fired and come in for our new coach and get the job done. So it sounds like to me that you're taking the Jets. Are you taking them at the line with the plus 1.5, or do you want them at the $2?
No, give me the $2. I jumped on when you jumped on.
Yeah,
mate,
smart.
We are both degenerate gamblers as bad as each other.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, new coach bump, $2.18. Give it to me.
And it's come in. So I'm glad that the Any Given Sunday fam has jumped on board. Unfortunately, you're only going to get it at like $1.99 now or something like that. But that's all right. Hey, $2 wins, $2 win, I do think the Jets probably get the job done here as well, which it should be, realistically, it should be a good game. I know the game that Rodgers went out in last year, he only lasted 4 snaps, the 5th being his Achilles. It was still a good, yeah, no, thanks. It was still a good game. Wilson come out and actually, I think they got the job done in the end against the Bills. So you never know in MetLife. I feel like the 86,000 Jets fans in MetLife are going to get the job done for them.
Yeah, well, there's the 12th man, aren't they?
They are. We've got a multi for this one. Obviously, our Jets at $2.18 is the any given Sunday bet of the week. So it's still in play. It is mine. I think it's 1-1. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. I think it's 2-1 to me, but anyway, we'll go 1-0.
2-1 because you picked two. All right. I also picked the Bengals to get the job done today. But we do have a multi put together. I quickly chucked it together. This is all me. I got in there. You were a busy man actually working hard today, so I had to do some behind-the-scenes work. I've put this together. It's I'm pretty confident. I was surprised how much it's actually paying me, but then when you kind of broke it down, kind of hit me a little bit. But I've got Rodgers, new coach bump, over 200 yards. Josh Allen hasn't been throwing it a bunch lately. Also missed 21 passes last week. So I only put him in for the 150. I went pretty safe with him over 150. Garrett Wilson, like I said, 23 targets last week. So his overs of 5.5. I was smashing that every day of the week. Lazard has become a little bit of a favourite, I think. He had 4 receptions last week, and he's hit it the last couple of weeks. So, again, at home, I think receptions for Lazard is home. Conklin, another one for the Jets. This is very Jets heavy. He had 6 receptions, 9 targets last week, and he's hit it the last 3 weeks. So I'm pretty confident that 4 receptions for Conklin is home and hosed as well. And Cook, I do think it's a bit of a running game against the Jets. They do have Sauce Gardner and the likes in the backfield, so they're going to pound the rock, the Bills, and Cook will get his 35 yards pretty comfortably. It's paying me $9, which I'm pretty happy with.
$9 is a lot of juice.
Where am I getting my juice from, in your opinion?
A lot of juice. Honestly, with the amount of times that Wilson got targeted, you could almost do a little reception ladder with him.
Oh.
Do a little 5.5, then do a 7, do an 8, do a 9, do a 10. And just obviously drop your units as you're going up. Because if he can get another 10 reception game, which, we all know is Rodgers' favourite target, clearly. Not the worst thing to look at as well. Just something outside the box. But yeah, the one I hit you straight back with, I was like, Conklin for 4. He didn't really play well in the first 2 games. And to be fair, I haven't really gone deep diving on tight ends for the Jets since then. But yeah, he has.
He's the number one. If that helps.
I knew that much. But yeah, he has come out and hit 6, 5, and 4, I think, in his past 3. So it's safe enough. I don't know where you get the money from in this. It sounds like a steal.
Yeah. So with Conklin as well, 17 receptions over the 5 games. But like you said, he was missing the first 2. I don't know if he had a reception the first 2 games. Receptions, I just wanted to see what we get for 10. So Wilson's the only one you can get for 9 or 10. $6 for 9, $10.50 for 10.
I am throwing a little bit of a sprinkle on each one of those.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a juicy one. I don't hate a little ladder. You can build that up nicely and make some fair bit of cash. So, awesome, mate. Enjoy tomorrow's game. I will catch up with you Thursday morning, nice and early, to preview Week 7. Love your work, mate.
Oh, can't wait, mate. I can't wait to actually review this game too. It should be an absolute fire one.
Oh, let's hope it's not a fizzer. Let's hope it's an actually great game. Let's go the overs of 60+.
Wow.
Yeah.
60
No defense.
Wow.
None.
No defense, but it's the only thing the Jets can actually do. Nice one.
It might be 55-5. Bills way. Which will very much hurt ours, but that's all right. All right, mate. Love your work, and I'll see you later in the week.